And welcome in to the last Saturday Merriman Market Analyst newsletter for 2023. Not the last one just for this year. And then poor Ray is taking a break for his Christmas Day solar return birthday in Hawaii. And then we'll be back in a couple of weeks with the 2024 first edition. Hi, everybody. Thomas Miller on the Fun Astrology and MMA Market Analyst podcasts, taking a look at the newsletter for this week of December 25th, which, of course, will be a market holiday, so really picking up on the 26th as far as the markets are concerned. A couple of things we'll probably be hearing quite a bit from this year coming up. First article to start off today's newsletter is from Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., quoted on December 21st. He said, if Trump is kept out of office through judicial fiat rather than being defeated in a fair election, this country will become ungovernable. It's time to trust the voters. It's up to the people to decide who the best candidate is. Not the courts, the people. That's Democracy 101. When any candidate is deprived of his right to run, the American people are deprived of their right to choose. And then this quote from the Wall Street Journal on Thursday, Mr. Trump's behavior after the 2020 election through January 6th was disgraceful, and it was one of the several reasons not to trust him with so much power again. It was an attempt to obstruct the counting of electoral votes. But the evidence is unpersuasive that this amounted to an insurrection or rebellion under the statutory or constitutional meaning of those terms. Now Ray's commentary to begin this last week of the year market-wise makes you question, who is really the party or person undermining democracy in the U.S.? Is it the Trump-supported Republicans heeding Trump's call to obstruct the election verification process on January 6, 2021? Or the Biden-supported Democrats who want to remove Trump from the ballot, while at the same time also removing every Democratic contender from primary ballots in as many states as possible? ? Pluto moving back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius between now and the 2024 U.S. election will have something to say about this. Pluto and Capricorn will likely be obsessed with doing whatever it can to maintain control and power, even if it involves violence and murder of its or their own people, per the behavior of Russia and Hamas in 2023. Pluto in Aquarius, however, is the surge of power to the people and the unrelenting drive to the masses to attain basic human rights that reflect the underlying virtues of democracy and consensus by the majority. This makes this election especially interesting because the majority of Americans don't want either Trump or Biden to be their only choices. This is a subject I delve deeply into this year's Forecast 2024 book. And by the way, catch the interview that I did with Ray that is in both of these podcasts, released yesterday on December 22nd. It is remarkable how the geocosmic signatures are already unfolding as described. For instance, Donald Trump's progressed Mars of attack is at 14 degrees Libra. His natal Chiron, wounding, is 14 degrees Libra. The U.S. natal Saturn, government and law, is at 14 degrees Libra. Who will win this war of the Titans, meeting in the sign of the scales of justice? It's covered in the 2024 forecast book, but justice is on trial, along with democracy and the will, consensus, of the people. The conjunction is the powerful end and beginning of a cycle related to the nature of the planets and signs involved in the charts of those affected, which are delineated in this year's almanac. Despite these disturbing trends in the geopolitical situation of the U.S. and the world's stock markets were mostly higher again. Several made new all-time or multi-year highs again last week, such as the United States, Brazil, India, and Japan. China's SSE index, on the other hand, is on the verge of dropping to its lowest level since the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Gold and silver also rallied nicely, but not to new monthly highs yet. Crude oil continued its march higher, following its multi-month low on December 13th, the day Mercury turned retrograde, and is right in line with Derek Panea's options strategy presented in our recent special webinar on options. Bitcoin and Ethereum tested their recent yearly highs again as the week drew to a close, and speculation about a new Bitcoin ETF is generating excitement. Now the short-term geocosmics. First quote is from Bill Maher on his HBO real-time program December 15, 2023. There were deals on the table to share the land called Palestine in 1947, 93, 95, 98, 2000, and 2008. And East Jerusalem could have been the capital of a Palestinian state that today might look more like Dubai than Gaza. The Palestinian people should know, your leaders and useful idiots on college campuses who are their allies are not doing you any favors by keeping alive the river-to-the-sea myth. They got real because they knew the United States wasn't going to give back Phoenix any more than Hamas will ever be in Tel Aviv. Maher continued his monologue by comparing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to other global conflicts and heralding Mexico as an example of building a vibrant economy rather than investing in terrorism. End quote. And this from the Wall Street Journal. The overwhelming majority of Palestinians blame Israel for the death, destruction, and dislocation caused by the war. Yet many Gazans say that Hamas is also responsible for the suffering, and those voices are getting louder. End quote. Now Ray's commentary. We end the year trying to be positive and hopeful in a nation and a world unable to contain the authoritative advances of bad actors throughout the world and even the nation. We look ahead and see more aspects of aggression and the use of such means as murder, rape, and kidnapping as part of the quote-unquote business model by several world leaders, as Chiron and the lunar north node conjoin, solar eclipse, in the sign of Aries in March and April. In a large number of cases, this erratic planetary cycle has coincided with recessions within 9 months, sometimes very severe, as in the case of the 1930s Great Depression. I don't know if this will be a big one or not in 2024. I'm more inclined to think it happens with the Aries vortex in 2026, plus or minus 1 year, which is when the lunar north node gets to Aquarius Capricorn, and that's also discussed in the 2024 forecast book. Shorter term, the trickster, Mercury retrograde, December 13th through January 2nd, is still active. Its midpoint will be this weekend, December 23rd, Saturday, which could coincide with reversals in some financial markets that did not reverse near the retrograde date itself of December 13th. Additionally, Venus is in opposition to Uranus as of December 21st, which is another reversal sign plus or minus 4 trading days. And as stated in this newsletter last week, a continuation of the rally to new highs cannot be ruled out either, because in the last week of the year, Jupiter will be highlighted. It will be in a trine aspect to the Sun on December 27th, then turn stationary direct on December 31st. That's generally a hopeful sign for the future, ending quote from last week. The new year will begin with Venus square Saturn on January 1st, the day before the trickster goes direct again. One of the basic rules is any market declining into a hard Venus-Saturn aspect is a candidate for a buy. So we want to be alert to such a setup by the time we return in 2 weeks. That concludes the newsletter for this week. There is a special message to MMA analyst subscribers and traders, and also some very important announcements, and I would refer you to MMAcycles.com and the newsletter itself for those. And if you'd like to pick up the audio book, which I narrated of the 2024 forecast book, that's available at hightimelinepublishing.com. It's right on the website, or you can also get it, obviously, from MMAcycles.com. One links to the other. And finally, we'd like to close out the year wishing Ray a very happy birthday. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a great year on these reports over the weekend on Saturdays. We'll continue it in 2 weeks. Have a very happy holiday.